aiming is for losers, and that's why hipfire grip got a huge buff at the start of the season of rivals, yet nobody is talking about it. So we are going to find out if it is any good, which weapons are the best hipfire options, and finally, if you are a glutton for punishment, then this build is for you. If you've clicked on this video and made it this far, do yourself a favour, stop. If you didn't stop, thank you. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit share, hit yourself, and let's get on with it. So as we said, hipfire grip got a buff at the start of the season, and it is now a lot more commonplace on weapons that drop from the various loot pools. The perk itself states that you get an increase to accuracy, stability and precision hit targeting whilst firing from the hip. 3 very well rounded and ideal stat traits there if you ask me, but is this better for you than simply aiming down sights? Well, the answer to that question all lies in the weapons and how you are going to use it. If like me, aiming down sights feels natural and there won't be a moment when you aren't using your weapon and aiming down sights for 99% of engagements in the game, whether that's in PvE or the Crucible. And that will be for the standard mid to long range to way long range battles. Unless you're a god, you ain't sniping a huge knight in the dome from a hipfire shot across the map. It just isn't happening. So that really narrows it down as to what playstyle and what type of weapons you'll want to look for the hipfire grip perk to roll with. And let me tell you, there is some great weapon choices to take advantage of in this close quarters playstyle hipfire grip requires. I did all this dirty work so that you don't have to, and I did a lot of it in Iron Banner, the ultimate meta playground. 1 like equals 1 F in the chat for each time I got gunned down by a mountaintop gnawing hunger titan sweat lord. Now look, seriously, if you're going to use hipfire grip weapons, you'll want to look at using lion ramparts. These titan exotics have a hipfire buff built into the intrinsic perk, so why the hell not? Hunters, you'll be wanting Dragon Shadow, because it's awesome. And well, warlocks, this time, there's just no hope for you. All that being said, first up, let's look at some legendary options that you can obtain this season which all roll with hipfire grip, starting with the 2 top sidearms I used for this demo. Breachlight, the kinetic aggressive burst sidearm available from the Humble Recaster, as well as the reissued Fool's Remedy Energy Suros Rapid Fire sidearm direct from Iron Banner. Both of these had vastly different playstyles, as I found I could use the Breachlight along with its Rampage roll in a normal range that you'd expect a sidearm to function, and still be hitting the crit spots whilst aiming from the hip. Whereas the Fool's Remedy roll I had was all about the close quarters shutdown of the Shotgun Apes, mainly due to its hipfire and Iron Gaze combo. Iron Gaze drastically reduces the range of the sidearm but increases its target acquisition. This was really wacky to use sometimes, and I wouldn't even be aiming anywhere near them and I'd just be spamming away and the hipfire and Iron Gaze would just pull the bullets to land crit shots and a crazy time to kill before I'd even realised what had happened. The shots you can hit using a hipfire weapon are some you'd never imagine, especially with primary weapons like sidearms, SMGs and auto rifles which can all roll with it and offer you some degree of consistency. Now as for special weapons, I had a hipfire roll on my first in last out shotgun, which if you haven't heard, by the way, is a top tier weapon. But hipfire is not the way to go with this one. I know that shotguns recently got a change where aiming down sights doesn't increase its effective range or pallet spread, so effectively you should still hit the same shots regardless when you hipfire. However, it was so inconsistent and inaccurate that I knew that if I had a normal roll and used the good old aiming down sights method, I would have one-tapped them fools right out of the lobby. But I guess if you could get a hipfire grip paired with the opening shot perk, then that could be the way to go. Now that was where my testing really ended with legendaries, mainly because I was at my wit's end getting dunked on in Iron Banner. So I switched it up to what you can easily say is hands down the best hipfire grip weapon in the whole history of Destiny. The Last Word. Now this has gone through lots of tweaks recently, making it the true hipfire gunslinging weapon of lore that it is. And it was easily the most fun. You can hipfire crit shots at silly distances, and thanks to fanfire it makes it even easier as you feather the trigger to a full auto burst to take anybody down. I'm actually surprised how little I see this awesome exotic on console, because it is so deadly. With the general aim assist you get from controller on console, plus the hipfire boost, it's a no-brainer to me, especially once you dial it in. But you know what? There's more. A hipfire pulse rifle. Now I've got you thinking, but it's also a god tier weapon for a number of reasons. Bad Juju. Hipfire grip is one of its main perks, and it is surprisingly good. Hipfire the weapon and you'll be landing crit shots at distances you wouldn't believe. Honestly, it was refreshing to use a good weapon at normal distances and still be highly effective. The beauty is though that unlike the last word, which is generally entirely PvP related, Bad Juju works great in all areas, especially as its perks give bonus super energy, increases damage output and refills the magazine, along with a catalyst that extends its string of curses perk duration. It's incredibly stable and accurate when hip firing, which the same can be said for the last hipfire weapon on this list, Skyburner's Oath. Now hipfire grip isn't a perk, but its perk Slug Rifle allows for a bonus when firing from the hip in that it will lob explosive seeking rounds towards targets. So technically you don't even need to aim this one at all with this perk, as it'll just do the work for you. Likewise, a charged round from the exotic symmetry will do the exact same thing, but you have to work to get that trait active. Ultimately, hipfire grip is a nifty little perk, but not one you should rely on, and it should only be left to the exotics that definitely do this perk properly. This was a slightly different take on the builds videos we usually cover here on the channel, looking at outlying perks and combinations that could offer a different style of gameplay. We looked at Pulse Monitor recently in the last video too, so please go take a look at what insane stuff you can do with that one. Let me know in the comments section down below if there's a perk you'd like a deeper dive into as to what you could look for perk wise or even build wise to make the most out of it. If you are new here though, then please consider subscribing. It's a free and easy way to support the content I make, and I really do appreciate it, as well as everybody who leaves a rating down below too. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.